A new report by Amnesty International has found that Twitter is still not doing enough to protect women and non-binary users from online abuse. At least 40% of women who use the platform more than once a day report experiencing abuse. That's compared to 13% of those who use the platform less than once a week. For more on this, we're joined by Amnesty International South Africa's Alicia Jooste. Alicia, very good evening to you. Welcome to News at Prime. Let's go through the sort of abuse that is directed at these women and by whom.
Thanks for having me, Amnon. I'm excited to be here tonight. So what we're finding is that women's freedom of expression, the rights and freedom to safety, the right to privacy, the right to seek and receive information is currently being violated on Twitter. And this is having a negative emotional and mental health impact on women. It's leading many women to self-censor what they post. It's limiting their interactions on the platform. And it's also driving women to get off Twitter completely.
And I know you looked at politicians, activists, and other women in that sort of realm. Do you find that the purpose of the abuse is expressly to shut them up, as it were, to stop them from speaking out on various issues?
Definitely. So similar to violence against women that occurs offline, the aim of online violence and abuse against women is to create a hostile environment with the goal of shaming, intimidating, and silencing women. And so Twitter needs to do more to clean up the platform and make sure it is a safe space for all women.
And how quickly does Twitter respond to this sort of abuse? I mean, I've seen, from my experience, from other prominent women who I follow in the media especially, threats of rape when they tweet an opinion that people don't agree with, or if there's an interview that a man finds was offensive for whatever reason, politically mostly.
So this is one of our key calls to Twitter, is make this kind of information transparent. Because we're hearing similar feedback from women that when they are reporting abusive content and tweets, there's an inconsistent enforcement of Twitter rules. And so we need to see an increase in data that tells us how decisions are being made and how processes are, and if they are, being followed when it comes to reports.
You've also noted in your report an issue of language, right? Accessibility is key if people are going to have any access to recourse, justice. Why has that not moved sufficiently?
Once again, it comes down to transparency. The content moderators for Twitter sit at a global and regional level. And so there's no transparency around whether the moderators actually have an understanding of the official South African languages, our political and social cultural context, and how many moderators actually cover South Africa specifically. And I think this is a massive loophole that needs to be covered by Twitter. But unless they give us this information as to why this is not being covered, it's hard for us to understand the reasons why.
In 2018, I think it was, you put together a list of about 10 recommendations for Twitter. Of those 10, where are they doing the best? Where are they doing the worst?
Yeah, and it is important to recognize that progress has been made. One of the key things that Twitter has started implementing is education campaigns around digital security on the platform, what people's rights are. They have made progress around making the abuse reporting mechanism more accessible. The issue now is that when there's still no transparency around how those decisions are being made. As you mentioned, sometimes it doesn't even seem like reports are being listened to or anything is being dealt with. That would be the key progress that has been made.
And we talked about this as far as turnaround time when I asked you about how quickly problems are resolved. I mean, sometimes you see a tweet that is offensive or harmful, abusive. It's up today. A bunch of people say, well, I've reported it to Twitter as offensive, yet a day or two later it can still be up.
Exactly. And, this is where we also talk about capacity. What is the capacity of moderators? There has been a greater introduction around manual or automatic dealings with reports, but that doesn't necessarily, as I said, take into consideration the context. So if you've got in a way, a robot sitting behind and making decisions, it's quite easy for things to slip through. And I think that's, in a way, what could be happening here as well.
Alicia Jooste from Amnesty International South Africa. Good to speak to you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.